Roberta is joining us from her home in Los Angeles. Great to see you.
Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
So you came to the United States from Italy back in 2012, and you had already established quite a career as an actress and model in Italy, but I guess you came to the US to further your acting career?
Yes, I did. I wanted to expand my artistic horizon, and in Italy, the market at the time wasn't that great, so I wanted more, and so I came to see what was going on in Hollywood, the Hollywood dream.
Your dream started back in Italy where, we hear about these stories, but for you, it came to be a true story. You come from a small town in Italy. You decide one day to go to a big city mall, and somebody from a cosmetics company looks at you and says, "Wow, I think she's got what it takes. You could be a model." Tell us about that.
Well, like you said, I went to the big city mall, and this girl, she was older than me but still very young. She approached me. I was 16 at the time. And she said, I work for this company and I would like to have you. You would be great to be um, a model for this tour that we have all across Italy, where we'll be presenting this new line. And so I told her, I was like, listen, I'm 16, like I can't say yes. And so she said, why don't you come with your dad to the agency? You get to meet everybody. We talk about it. You will be great. You will be great. And so at the time, I don't think I had a cell phone. I think we did the old school write on a piece of paper type of thing. And so I went home, I told my parents, and my dad, he's Sicilian, so he's pretty, like strict. And so a week later, my Sicilian father drove me up to Milan, which that alone was, a trip because I'd never been probably outside of my region, right? Because I'm in Veneto, that's where Vicenza is, and Milan is in Lombardia. And so we drove up there, and my dad met everybody, and they showed him the contract, and we talked about it, and then we signed it, and that was it.
Wow. And now you're here established as an actress based in LA, and things were going pretty well for you. I know 2018, 2019 was a super year for you.
Yeah.
But because of what's been going on recently, you've had to switch some things up. But let's talk about 2012. I
Mm-hmm.
know that you came to the US for a while in 2008, but in 2012, when you really came here for good, who was the first person you met and who was the first person who helped you?
The first person that helped me is a good friend of mine. His name is Omar, and or Omar in Italian. He's from Milan, and he came and picked me up at the airport. Took care of me. He also actually helped me while I was in Italy. He went and checked this room that I was about to rent, to make sure everything was okay. And so he took me to the place, and then for the next, several months, we were pretty much inseparable. He helped me find a job. I started working at an Italian restaurant as a hostess, and so yeah, that he was the person that really helped me the most when I first got here, for sure.
Besides Omar, did you feel welcome here in the US?
Yes, but the what really not scarred me, but what was weighing on me a lot was the immigration process, because I had to do, I'll still remember, I think I sent from Italy when I applied for my green card something like 9 pounds of papers,
Mm.
because you have to extensively prove, which I understand, your background and your skills and your credentials to get, admitted and approved as a permanent resident, which, it changed my life forever. So I am grateful. But it was the constantly, I felt like I was constantly being analyzed and questioned on my value and my intentions. And when you come here, you have to go through the immigration process, you have to talk to the officers, and only one time throughout the years, and it may have been probably 15, 16 times, I would come and go like 3, 4 times a year, to Europe and back, because I was still working as an actress in Italy. um, only one time I heard welcome back. And and that one time felt good. And then I also remember, there are two separate lines, one for citizens and one for immigrants. And even if you are a permanent resident, you're still in the immigrant line. And you would see, like, I remember I was in line, I would always look at the short, citizen lines and be like, one day I want to be in that line, I want to be in and out. And the officer was like looking at the passports and maybe some, smiling and letting them go. And I was just standing there waiting, for my turn. And so, it has an impact. Granted, the United States has given me a lot. I'm now a citizen and I'm really grateful. Funny enough, ever since I got my passport, I have not left the country, which I think is hilarious because I didn't get to like experience that the other speed of the service, but it is what it is. Life is funny, I guess. But yeah, I felt welcomed by the network of people that I built here. I think here there's a lot of great people, and I'm really grateful for who's in my journey and who has been in my journey. But the immigration process is not the easiest. It requires a lot of mental stamina, which thankfully I have. And I've helped a lot of friends to go through it, like giving them advices, and like, because some people, I mean, I had my own fair share of meltdown during, because you're there, you're waiting to get an approval, to get a notice. Maybe you messed something up, maybe you're missing a document. It's like, it really does take a toll on you. So whenever I can right now, I'm always there to support my friends that are going through it, because it's tough.
Getting citizenship really meant something to you other than switching lines.
Other than switching
right?
lines.
It meant much more to you, didn't it?
Yeah, it was also because, when I got here, a lot of people would suggest me to go the easy route and get married. And I was like, no, if I get married, it has to be for love. And if I'm getting this, is because I'm getting it with my own blood, sweat, and tears. And because I have a value, and I believed firmly that I am a different asset to the entertainment industry, because I am different, right? Because of my background and because of who I am. And so it was more of I wanted to prove that I was worth it, of getting it on my own. And I never give up. And every time I would be like, hey, you're missing one document, hey, we're missing something else, I was always on it. And I got, again, a few meltdowns in the process, but I powered through, because I wanted to get it. Whenever it started all, like, I had the student visa, then I got an artist visa, then I got the green card. All along, my goal was, I want to have that passport, because I want to be welcomed the same way the others are. And also, it kind of engraves a sense of belonging. And I mean, it doesn't, because it's not the passport is going to make you feel like you really belong to a land. But I wanted it. I wanted it badly, because I wanted to be able to travel and not be questioned upon return, essentially.
And partially because of your job, but it's hard to believe as we listen to you right now, you couldn't speak anything but Italian when you got to the US, right?
Correct. I remember, oh my God. So what happened was, when I got to the the immigration officer at the border, he asked me, why are you here? And I asked him to repeat the question probably 3 or 4 times, because what I was understanding was, who did you vote for? And I was so confused, and I was like, because the accent is completely different. I took English in school, but we learned the British English, not the American. It has a complete different speed and accent. So I was totally confused. Then I get to the cab driver was Russian. Then I get to the hotel or somewhere else, and the guy was Indian. So all the accents were different. I was I never watched a movie, an original language movie. And I remember one night I went and I watched in theater Frost versus Nixon, which is probably the worst movie, the worst because it's so dialogue heavy and complex. And I remember I was sitting there and I wasn't understanding anything, and it was all like dialogue, so there was no action to like guide me to what was happening, right? And I started crying because I just got so frustrated with myself because I wasn't getting it. And then people wouldn't get me when I was talking to them. It was, and then one day it switched. Is really fascinating. One day my brain just switched. And right now I sometimes dream in Italian, sometimes I dream in English. But I think that time was the very first time that I dreamt in English. And that's when my brain, I guess, kicked in. I don't know, but it took me like 6 months probably.
Roberta, you came to the U.S. from Italy in 2012 for good, and you've kind of touched upon some of it, but what do you think is the hardest part of immigration?
Leaving friends and family. So it's taking a leap of faith in a way because you don't know. I mean, at least I didn't know what it would have looked like or felt like, but and you are leaving behind what you know in your entire life. I immigrated when I was, in my late 20s. So it's like I spent my entire life somewhere else, even though I traveled a lot, but you travel a lot within Europe. So it's the friends and family because there's also a little bit of a feeling that you're letting them down because you're leaving, right? So like you're leaving to look for something better for yourself and you're leaving them behind. But I think in my case, which is my one of my main, motivation behind my action is expansion and curiosity. So I had this desire, this feeling that I wanted to see what was out here, and I had this feeling that it would have helped me grow, which it did because I can say this firmly, like United States made me into the woman that I am today, immigration included. All that I had to do by myself.
I get the sense that that you were not going to be stopped. JFK wrote a book titled "Nation of Immigrants," a nation of immigrants. How does it feel to live in America with people from all over the world after coming from a very small town?
I mean, I love it. I love it. I have friends from all over the world now. They all live here, but they have different backgrounds, different ethnicities, and I do come from a pretty racist town. Like in my hometown, it's very small and it's all white people. So I mean, now things are changing because we got immigrants as well. So right now it's more of a melting pot. But you can see it's really hard for like the old school people to open their mind in a way. Even some people my age, unfortunately. But for me, it was great because I felt I got exposed to lots of different cultures that otherwise I wouldn't have had the possibility to encounter for sure. So that's
Well, a movie that doesn't have just the dialogue of Frost Nixon, but has action to go. One of the most iconic films, The Godfather. An Italian immigrant talks to the Don about his belief in America. Roberta, do you believe in America?
right now it's a interesting time to be asked that question. But deep inside I do, because as much as it can be hard right now to see through, I always remember that when whenever I first moved here, I had this feeling that, and that was during Obama years, but I had this feeling that Americans, no matter what, they're gonna get back up and they're gonna get it done. Like for instance, here bankruptcy on a personal level, it's almost like accepted. It happens. It can happen in a lifetime. In Italy, God forbid you go bankrupt, is like the end of the world. There's no what has really struck me here is that there's always the possibility for something new, always the possibility for a rebirth. That's the feeling that I always had from America. And right now, because we are in such a dark time, it is harder to grasp and to see, but there is a part of me that believes that it's there, it's strong, it just has to resurface.
We asked viewers, what does immigration mean to them? What does that word mean to you?
For me, I think it means getting out of your comfort zone, because in a way, you definitely, I think all immigrants are in the search, they are on a quest for something, right? There is this desire, this feel inside that is taking you somewhere else, whether you're looking for yourself, for your identity, or for something. So I believe that when you're looking for something, you're also willing to get out of your comfort zone. So I think being an immigrant, it's rooted will to get out of your comfort zone, which is also why immigrants most of the times are willing to do things or to go lengths that others don't.
You mentioned how being in the US, there's always a possibility of something new happening. Something new is happening for Roberta, and that's on Zoom. You're teaching yoga, and I
Yeah.
understand you're getting quite a following.
Yeah. So per 2020 teachings, reinvent yourself. Right now that the entertainment business has slowed down, what was just a passion, which was teaching yoga, has now taken more of a prime spot in my days. And I teach on Zoom. I teach meditation and yoga. And with my husband, we are getting ready to launch that's our project, it's our family project, our yoga channel, because my intent is to be able to offer yoga for free, because YouTube, you can just upload content, and then if you have good following and the audience grows, you just make money on the back end with the advertisers. But the point being, yoga, which should be free for everybody, goes back to its origin being free for everybody, because before, here in LA, you had to pay crazy membership prices to have access to in-person yoga, which was a distortion of what yoga is. And right now, thanks to what is happening, right, which is a revolution of its own, we came up with this idea. So we're able to offer free yoga, and we'll see what comes out of it. But the content is looking great, and it really fills my days in a positive way. I love doing it. I love working on it. And yeah, the entertainment business slowed down. So I'm glad I have, I put my passion into something else. But I also think right now, probably once this is off the ground, I'll probably start writing something for the entertainment business. Like, I don't stop, because once yoga is up and going, something else is gonna come up. I believe firmly that there is a lot of power in creating in a moment of contraction, just like this one. Because when something is, which is also part of, I guess, my yoga teachings and learnings, when something is shut down, in our case, the previous model of life, something else is opening, because it's just how it goes. If something closes, something opens. So there's room for lots of growth now, and I'm excited to be on the forefront and see what I can bring.
You didn't get married for a green card. You got married for love. What is it about your husband that makes that companionship, that relationship work?
Lots of things, but
Give us one.
give us one. He feeds me. He cooks food. No.
now is
I always say this jokes like, why did you get married? Well, he cooks. No.
Is
But
he from the U.S.?
No, he's from Colombia.
Oh.
So he's also an immigrant.
So do
And
you guys talk about your unique journeys about that then?
yeah, and you definitely bond over it, because like I said, there is a level of resilience and commitment and passion that I feel, I don't know, it resonates more within immigrants. There's less entitlement in general, and I love that. And there's this constant will to reinvent yourself, to, you know, keep creating things. So I love that. But he balances me greatly, because, you know, I can be sometimes like too much too quick, and he's more logical, and he's the voice of reason. So that's definitely a big plus, you know, to find somebody that really completes you. And we travel, or right now we travel nearby, obviously, but we travel, we go on adventures together. We love going camping, spending time in nature. And now we're also filming yoga content while we go in nature. And so it's great because I found a partner that not only shares my interests and my passions, but we're building together, right? You're growing. So that's that's what I always wanted, somebody to grow with, not just to be with, you know, like to build and to grow with.
It's wonderful. So last question for you. Where would Roberta be if she had stayed in Italy?
I don't know. I mean, I think I probably would be in my hometown, because, you know, I'd probably be in my hometown. But see, I can't even see it. Like when you ask me, I just don't even see it, because I know that ultimately it's not a, for who I am, it's not a possibility. Because I had this urge to get out and to see, because I was seeing, you know, all these people, which now I understand why they did it, because that's what makes them happy, and that's great. But like, they went to school, they found a job, they married their high school sweetheart, and they live in the house, the same street as their mom. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just they're happy with that. And I always had this feeling that there was more to discover, more to see, and more to grow. So I don't think I would have ever be able to have that lifestyle, because I felt restricted, which is also why I left, because I
So
had
if
this sense of exploration, I guess.
relatives over there, would you say, hey, come to America?
Oh yeah, I mean, my dad, he came here for 2 years in a row. He stayed for like over a month. He's a huge Native American fan, and he loves Western movies. And both years we took two epic trips with different like stops, but like we went to Monument Valley. Like we did kind of like, you know, an old Western location scouting. And it also, what is very interesting is that he feels, for some reason, and he's from Sicily, so attracted to, so bonded to the Native American culture. And right now I am incorporating some of the Native American teachings in my teaching, you know, in yoga and in meditation. So it's really cool to see how it is all weaving in. And it was also like, my dad, he would, you know, move here tomorrow, but my mom doesn't get on planes, so that's not gonna, you know,
That
work
won't happen
out.
then.
That's not gonna happen. Plus my grandma, who's 99, she's still well and alive, and so, you
Wow.
know, my mom wants to be with her, rightfully so. So I don't think anybody will move here for good anytime soon. But it was, for me, for my dad, it was very healing, because I didn't have much of a relationship with him growing up in my teenage years, just because, you know, I was a weird teenager, I guess. But having the chance to share this with him, and I mean, he loved it. And I guess our relationship is in a, I don't even want to say better place, but like it just has grown so much, you know? And
That's
so
great.
that was really great. Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations. Congratulations and best of luck with the yoga class with your husband on Zoom, and also continued success with your career as an actress in Los Angeles. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.